In March, the unexpected is always expected, and on Thursday, the number 1 overall seed in the NCAA tournament, the Duke Blue Devils, certainly served up an unexpected performance. After trailing 16th seeded Siena by double digits, the Blue Devils were given all they could handle and more from the 16th seeded Saints. But the talented Blue Devil team that's only lost twice this season came through with a come-from-behind tight victory to keep their March Madness hopes alive. Today they tangle with TCU, the Horned Frogs, coming off of a down-to-the-wire 2-point victory in the first round against Ohio State. They match up today in Greenville, South Carolina, as we get set to book another spot in the Sweet 16 and into Washington, D.C., as we welcome you to the second round of the NCAA tournament. Today it is Duke and TCU. And hello one and all, I'm Matthew Owens. Welcome back to Greenville, South Carolina. Thanks for having us in for game one of a busy day here for us on the channel. It should be a very interesting environment and an interesting matchup here as Duke battles TCU, with the winner moving on to the Sweet 16. Blue Devils, as you know, number 1 overall seed in this tournament, 33-2 now on the season, but they struggled mightily with the number 16 seed Siena here on Thursday. As mentioned, they trailed at halftime by double digits. It was the largest halftime deficit that a 1 seed ever had to a 16 seed, but they came from behind. Siena, of course, did not make any substitutions the entire game, and Duke finally was able to wear them down as their defense stepped up, and of course so too did their fantastic freshman Cam Boozer, as the Blue Devils survived what would have been an all-time upset in round number 1 of the tournament. So Duke moves on to the second round, and they face TCU. This is a Horned Frogs team that now has won 9 of their last 11 games after that victory on Thursday against Ohio State. TCU had a big halftime lead. 15 points they led Ohio State at halftime. The Buckeyes roared back to even take a late lead. TCU, though, got a layup rather, in the lane in the final 5 seconds from Xavier Edmonds to put them on top for good. Horned Frogs got double-digit scoring from 3 different starters. Edmonds, along with David Punch and Micah Robinson, all scored in double figures for TCU as they came away with the 2-point win. Jamie Dixon with another team in the NCAA tournament, and now he's trying to make it into the Sweet 16. TCU has been there very sparingly in their history. For Dixon, it would be his 4th Sweet 16 appearance as a head coach. This is his 17th appearance in an NCAA tournament as a head coach. Of course, he was there so many times with Pittsburgh, and hopes to take this TCU team into a deep tournament run. So, from Bon Secours Wellness Arena in Greenville, we are set to go. First game of the day of 2 here in Greenville. We'll also have VCU and Illinois on this floor later in the evening. We'll bring that to you on this channel. And, of course, we're also bringing you the 2 Portland games on the channel later tonight. That includes Texas playing Gonzaga, along with High Point battling with Arkansas. But we get it started with Duke and TCU. And what an interesting matchup this promises to be between the ACC and the Big 12. Now, of course, the big story for Duke for so long now has been the availability, or the lack thereof, of their starting point guard Caleb Foster and their starting center Patrick Gungba. Now, we've known for quite some time Foster is not going to be available very much, if at all, in this tournament unless Duke advances all the way to the Final Four. But Gungba, with his foot soreness, a player that has dealt with feet injuries before in his high school and early in his college career, He has not played since Duke's penultimate regular season game against NC State. Jon Scheyer says he expects him to play today. He will not play his normal minute load. Of course, throughout the season, Gungba averaged over 20 minutes a game. Starting lineups for TCU, it's Brock Harding, who was tough as nails on Thursday against Ohio State, in the backcourt with Jaden Pierre, and then that talented frontcourt, Robinson, Punch, and Edmonds, who all scored in double figures against the Buckeyes. For Duke, the freshman Caden Boozer, sharpshooter Isaiah Evans, freshman from Italy Dame Sarr, a terrific defender, Cameron Boozer, the frontrunner for Player of the Year, and Malik Brown gets the start at the center position, as that's the five that Jon Scheyer sends out to start this second round encounter. And of course, Gungba being available for Duke will change so much for this Blue Devils team, as we know, because with him being out so much, it's been a rotisserie at the 5 spot with Malik Brown, Cameron Boozer, and sometimes even Nicholas Hemenya playing in that spot for the Blue Devils. None of those guys are natural centers, so having Gungba, the natural center, and a 6'11 guy available would really change things drastically for this Duke team. Brown will jump center with David Punch, who led TCU in both scoring and rebounding on the season, and it's Punch who wins the tip, and we are underway in this East Regional second-round battle. As the Horned Frogs start on offense, they attack to our left. Xavier Edmonds dribbles to his left and hands off. Jaden Pierre takes a top-of-the-circle jumper from 18 feet, left it short, and the rebound cleared away by Duke's Cameron Boozer, and the Blue Devils have their first offensive possession. Caden Boozer swings a pass to his left from Malik Brown. Brown looks right, swings it that way. Tough ball to catch for Evans. He goes airborne to lasso it in. Back to Cam Boozer. Looping pass inside. Brown catches, kicks. Extra pass by Caden Boozer to the left wing. Dame Sarr charges in, and he gets called for extra steps. It's a traveling violation against Sarr. And Duke with a turnover in their first possession. TCU will inbound far side backcourt and bring it up the floor. Horned Frogs wearing black uniforms, white numbers, purple trim, just as they did in the win here on Thursday. First game out on Thursday. Pierre with a quick pass as Robinson tried to help it into the corner for Punch, knocked away by Brown and out of bounds. He does that so often, of course. It'll stay with TCU with the shot clock at 15. Inbound will come just in front of the Duke bench. It's in by Pierre to Harding. Small guard, dribbles left, pulls up, left elbow jumper. It's good, and TCU's got the first points as Harding knocks that jumper in just beyond the left elbow. Caden Boozer brings it up the floor. He's been playing such valuable minutes in the absence of Caleb Foster. No doubt that the talent is there with Caden. He finds his brother Cam, who at the foul line lobs it up, and Malik Brown over the top soars to catch and slam, and Duke gets on the board. That's how their first basket came on Thursday, with a lob to Brown, the 6th man of the year and defensive player of the year in the ACC. Micah Robinson for TCU, testing the left baseline, back out for Edmonds, dribbles his way to the foul line, spins it back outside, Harding a jab step, gets a screen, cuts his way in, pass back to the point, deflected, Robinson recovered, Pierre swings it around, and on the wing, 3 ball is good. Xavier Edmonds swishes it home from bonus territory. TCU with their first 3. Edmonds, as mentioned, had that great game, 16 points along with 8 rebounds here on Thursday, and the game-winning basket with under 5 seconds to go to douse the Buckeyes. Dame Sarr for Duke, centered ball top of the arc. Isaiah Evans holding on to him defensively. Pierre Edmonds dribbles into the lane with the left hand, shovels it up, does not get the bounce off the back of the rim. It leaks out, and the rebound cleared away by Punch, who averaged nearly 7 rebounds a game to lead the way for this TCU team. One of the best players in the Big 12. They work it inside. Edmonds, good spin move on Sarr, got to the rim but missed the layup off the glass and rim. Rebound down to the Blue Devils. Caden Boozer brings it up. They hedge on him around midcourt. He finds Evans, then the return for Boozer, who wasn't expecting the pass. Quarterbacks it into the right corner. Sarr catches, gathers, puts up a 3, and knocks down Duke's first from beyond the arc as Sarr cans the corner triple. That's where he likes to shoot. When he's making 3s, they're normally out of the corners. 30% three-point shooter during the season. Harding up the floor for TCU. Out wide to his right, in the corner. Looks to give it off. He does. Robinson swings it left. Pierre around the horn. Punch off left wing. Dribbles against Brown. Dribble handoff for Harding was mishandled and stolen by Brown. Brown the outlet. Caden Boozer. Bounce pass threaded for Saar. Gives it back to Boozer. He slices to the rim and lays it in. Duke has their first lead. Caden Boozer sneaking in, getting it back off the initial give to Saar. Boozer with 19 points against Siena on Thursday, a new career high. Meanwhile, at the other end, Harding locates in the lane an open David Punch, and he floats in a 10-footer. Good pace to start, 7-7 through the first 3 minutes and change. Boozer on a right-handed dribble to run the offense, directed up the top of the key. Brown swings it left on the wing. Evans tried to get it inside. Saar got hip checked to the floor, and we get a whistle. Foul going against TCU. And that will bring in, for the first time today, Patrick Gungba, who's missed Duke's last 5 games with soreness in his right foot. And the Duke fans stand to applaud Gungba, who averaged 11.6 rebounds a game for the Blue Devils, and they make a mess of the inbounds pass. It's stolen by the Frogs, and here comes TCU, 6th place finishers in the Big 12 this season. Punch is open, left dart 3 is launched, clatters off the cup, no good. Whistle blows, foul is called underneath, and it is against Gungba, who is trying to box out Edmonds, and that will lead to a timeout on the floor just past the 4-minute mark. Underway in round 2 of the NCAA tournament, Duke and TCU battling it out in Greenville, South Carolina. So underway in Greenville, and of course 2 games already wrapped up today to start the second round of this NCAA tournament, both played in Buffalo, New York, and a couple of Michigan squads advancing on to the Sweet 16, the top-seeded Wolverines in the Midwest knocked off St. Louis 95-72. Michigan, as they so often do, just coming at you in waves. Led at the half by 9, ended up winning by 23. Yaxel Lindeborg once again going off. 25 points for Yaxel, 9 of 13 from the field, as he led Michigan to another Sweet 16 appearance. It ends what was a terrific season for the Billikens of St. Louis, who finished their year 29-6. Great season that they had out of the Atlantic 10. And then the other game in Buffalo, Michigan State also advances to the Sweet 16. They'll head to Washington, D.C. in the East Regional as Jeremy Fears leads the Spartans past Louisville 77-69. Ryan Conwell did have 21 points for the Cardinals. That was canceled out, however, by the 21 points that Cohen Carr scored for the Spartans. Fears had 12 points, only shot at 3 of 13 from the field, but he dished out 16 assists. One of the top assist men in all of college basketball, of course. And the Spartans win it by 8 over the Cardinals. So 2 Big Ten clubs, 2 Michigan schools advancing to the Sweet 16 with their victories here today. Those are the only 2 games that have been completed. We will start to have simultaneous games going on as we go throughout the evening. Our next tip-off is about a half hour away. Houston and Texas A&M, rematch of a great tournament game from 2 years ago. They will get started in Oklahoma City with a 6:10 p.m. Eastern Time tip-off. Again, that's about 35 minutes away. And then we'll start having the normal multiple games going on simultaneously, as we've had, of course, the last 2 days. Again, here on the channel, we've got 4 more streams coming for you as we've had the last 2 days, but they are coming from different sites and are happening simultaneous today. So while Duke and TCU is going on, our next stream will get started at about 7 p.m. Eastern Time as Gonzaga takes on Texas. That game out in Portland, the 3 and 11 seeds doing battle in the West region at 7:50 on this channel. We'll be back here for the second game in Greenville between Illinois and Virginia Commonwealth. And then the second game in Portland tonight at about 9:45 between Arkansas and High Point. We'll have that one for you on the channel as well. And, of course, we won't have it on the channel, but we'll be giving you updates of all the games going on. And also the game that I didn't mention at 8:45, Nebraska takes on Vanderbilt. So that is the lineup on this second round Saturday as we get set for action to restart here. TCU inbounding from underneath. Harding gets the ball into Tanner Toulson into the game off the bench. He feeds the left baseline. Latauris Lelavicius feeds it back up top. Punch hands off. Toulson has it. Feeds it right. Harding entry feed. On the right baseline, Xavier Edmonds shoulders inside. Saar comes in to try to strip it away, and they call Saar for a reach in, and that happens with less than 5 seconds on the shot clock. So not a great foul by Saar. And TCU will have a fresh 20 on the timer. Inbound comes to Harding. Moves his way to the left elbow. Pull-up jumper repelled off the front of the rim. No good. Rebound Duke. Long outlet diagonally up the left-hand side for Isaiah Evans. Threads a pass to Gungba. Going after Lelavicius. Drives the baseline. Goes up strong, and Gungba squeezes it in off glass. His first points in a long, long time. Again, last game that he played was their penultimate regular season game on March 2nd on the road at NC State. At the other end for TCU, Lelavicius turns the corner. Climbs left block. Hits the brakes, goes at Gungba, shovels it up, glass and rim miss. Sneaking in, Toulson gets an offensive rebound, and TCU will start once again. Driving his way inside, punch, stood up by Himenia, tries to turn around him, he does. Bank shot doesn't go, and there's a foul going for the loose ball, and it's against TCU. Himenia got shoved down, and that foul goes against Punch. And the ball will go back to the Blue Devils. Going to be an interesting rebounding game, too, with Gungba returning for Duke. That changes how this team can rebound. And TCU is a good rebounding team. Punch a big part of that. He goes to the bench after picking up that foul. Entry feed Gungba. He got doubled. Tried to toss it cross court. It's stolen by Harding. Harding in transition. Finds Lelavicius, who shoots an open right corner three. It misses. Rebound up for grabs. And we've got another whistle. And this is a foul against Duke going for the loose ball. Foul is on Isaiah Evans. So another foul going against the Blue Devils there. Also, it'll be interesting, too, to see what Gungba looks like and how comfortable he is getting back into it. As off the inbounds pass, Robinson gets an open look at a three, and he strokes it. Micah Robinson out of Kansas City knocks down the triple. Averages over 10 points per game for the Horned Frogs. Caden Boozer for Duke. Up the floor and guarded by Pierre. Pierre holds his ground. Boozer picked up his dribble. Needs someone to come over and help. And we've got a whistle and a foul against Jaden Pierre, who was all over Boozer there. And we're getting quite a bit of fouls already starting to rack up. 6 combined fouls in less than 6 minutes of play. 3 on each team. Talk all the time about how games are officiated in March. Goes a long way in determining games. Inbound near side front court. Cam Boozer in for Gungba. Swept along off the left wing for Himenia. Centered ball for Gungba. Entry feed. Cam Boozer to the rim. Got caught underneath the cylinder. Missed the layup. And the ball ends up going out of bounds off of him. Tanner Toulson had the defense down low. The junior from Vancouver. Oversized by Cam Boozer, but he did a good job getting a hand on the ball there. And here comes TCU again. Pierre up the floor, takes a screen up high, takes a straight on three. It misses. Rebound down to Gungba, and he'll start the outlet ahead, left side of the floor for Caden Boozer. Now Gungba once again staggers his way, feeds it to Himenia on the wing. Entry feed. Boozer got doubled. Up top, Gungba fakes a three. He'll drive the closeout of punch, try to give it up to Boozer. Instead, it's stolen. Micah Robinson off the steal. He's got help trailing, but he'll go right to the rim himself against Cam Boozer and score off glass. TCU with a 12-9 lead. Off the Duke turnover, their 4th already. Caden Boozer at the other end. Quick pull-up floater misses from the left side of the paint. Offensive rebound tapped out to Gungba. A recycle. Darren Harris into the game for Duke. Loops it inside. Boozer a tough catch through defenders, and he has it knocked away. It's out of bounds. But it's a foul called first against TCU. Foul is on Toulson. Toulson got the arm of Boozer as he was trying to strip it. Caden to inbound it to Cam, short corner right, back to Caden, bounce pass, pretty passing play, and Malik Brown scores on the cut plus a foul. Chance at a three-point play. Toulson gets called for this foul too, so not a good sequence for Tanner Toulson. Picks up 2 fouls in 3 seconds, including this one on Brown that leads to an and one. And Malik Brown will go to the free throw line to try to complete a three-point play to tie the score. Senior out of Culpeper, Virginia. Does struggle from the free throw line, less than 50% on the season. He doesn't take many. And this one, wow, gets a really good bounce off the back of the rim and goes in. Gungba back on the bench for Duke after getting his first stint of the day underway. Toulson, after picking up those 2 fouls in 3 seconds, heads to the TCU bench, as you would expect. Horned Frogs on offense, punch, head of the arc, Brown in front of him defensively, punch down with a dribble at the head of the key. Scoops it to his right, Jaden Pierre, given space by Himenia, feeds it off left wing. Harding's got space for 3, and he swishes it down. Brock Harding knocks down the 3, and Duke won't mind leaving him open sometimes. He's only 27% from out there, but he hits his first attempt of the day from beyond the arc. Here's Caden Boozer, doubled on the perimeter. Brown kicks right corner. Harris, extra pass. Himenia fakes a 3, drives the closeout, lobs it underneath. Boozer the catch underneath the basket. He goes up and gets fouled, and that's what makes guarding Cameron Boozer so difficult. Foul is on Lelavicius, the junior from Lithuania. And Cam Boozer will go back to the line. 6th team foul already against TCU, so everyone from here on out will put Duke at the free throw line, and we've still got better than 12 minutes left in this half. First free throw from Boozer is good. Duke with well-documented struggles from the free throw line this season as a team, just 72%, which ranks just inside the top 200 nationally, 192nd to be exact. One more at the line for Boozer. Bends the knees. Cam's free throw is up and good. 15-14 advantage here for TCU. Dame Sarr checks back into the game for John Shire, the 38-year-old head coach. Cam Boozer goes to the bench. He doesn't get a lot of breathers, and they're never long breathers. He gets one here. Here's Pierre on the ball for TCU. Draws a double on the wing near side. Feeds the baseline. Edmonds cuts it out to the right corner. Lelavicius loads up a 3. Right side of the rim miss. Dame Sarr the rebound. Forwards it up the right side of the floor. Caden Boozer. Left-handed dribble, cuts to the March Madness logo at midcourt, feeds it off to Harris. Harris resets, had it knocked out of his hands by Pierre, recovered by Caden Boozer. Plenty of time on the shot clock. It's at 12. Brown threads a bounce pass to a cutting Himenia right to the rim. He gets, and his layup hangs on the front of the rim and falls off, but another foul is called against TCU. It's Lelavicius, who picks up now his second. And it'll be Himenia to shoot 2 at the line when we come back, as we hit the under 12 media timeout with TCU leading 15-14. Big day on the women's side of things as well. The second day of first round action in the women's tournament today. In fact, we've got an overtime game ongoing as we speak. We'll read you off the finals first. Ohio State, a 3 seed, beats Howard 75-54 on the Buckeyes' home floor, of course, in Columbus. Louisville knocked off Vermont 72-52. South Carolina did not play around with Southern, winning that game by a gargantuan margin, 103-34. Virginia in overtime knocked off Georgia. That was a 10 seed beating a 7, the first lower seed to win a game in this year's women's tournament. Notre Dame beat Fairfield 79-60. Kentucky was a 15-point winner over James Madison. Alabama knocked off Rhode Island 68-55, and UConn knocked off Texas San Antonio by 38 points, 90-52. was the win for UConn. Games ongoing in the women's tournament as we speak. As I said, USC and Clemson, that's an 8-9 game in Regional 4. That is in overtime. USC leads by 5 in the final minute of overtime. Second-seeded Iowa playing on their home floor, Carver Hawkeye Arena, and they are getting quite the test from FDU. Iowa leads late in the third quarter, 35-31. Neither team scored more than 10 points in the second quarter, and so far, neither team has scored more than 10 points in the third quarter. It's an extremely low-scoring game, and FDU, who of course had their men pull a 16-1 upset in the men's tournament a couple of years ago, their women trying to complete a 15-2 upset today with about 12 minutes to go in regulation time in that game. Iowa leads by only 4. West Virginia currently leads Miami University 32-23. That's late second quarter action there in a 4-13 in Regional 3. And they've also just gotten an 8-9 game in Regional 1 underway, playing at Gamble Pavilion in Stores, the home of UConn, of course. Iowa State and Syracuse in the first quarter. Syracuse with a 9-8 lead. So those are the updates and the ongoing games in the women's tournament on this second round Saturday. Plenty more women's games to go throughout the day, and of course here on the men's side, 2 games final. Third game just getting underway here with Duke and TCU, and then we cram 5 more games later, starting at just after 6 p.m. Eastern Time. TCU with a 1-point lead on Duke at the under-12 media timeout. Blue Devils at 33-2 on the season after their win against Siena on Thursday. And for TCU, 23-11, their record after the thrilling 2-point win over Ohio State here on Thursday. Nicholas Hemenya, freshman from Los Angeles, stepping to the free throw line for Duke. He'll shoot 2. First one is good. 65% free throw shooter is Hemenya. Hemenya came off the bench and played 24 minutes on Thursday against Siena, scored 3 points. Second free throw is good. Duke has the lead at 16-15. That last foul, as I mentioned, on Lelavicius. He and Tanner Toulson each have 2 fouls for the Horned Frogs, who get back on offense, attacking to our left. Lelavicius is still on the floor. Brock Harding handles the ball here. Helps it along into the right corner. Micah Robinson back to the middle of the floor. Pierre directs it left. Two-handed catch made by Harding. Entry feed, right baseline. Edmonds turns it back outside. Pierre steps back. Left wing 3 is fired up. Barely grazed the front of the rim. Dame Sarr picks up the miss and brings it up and feeds Caden Boozer, who gets behind a Malik Brown screen. Staggers to the left elbow in the high post. Back out to Brown. Feeds Hemenya. Cuts down the lane. Hits the break. Swirls it outside. Sarr lines up a 3 off right wing. It misses. Brown backpedals and gets the rebound. Kicks it back out. Evans loads up a 3 and knocks it down. Duke's so good at shooting and hitting threes off of offensive rebounds, and Brown had a great offensive board there despite Pierre's best efforts to box him out. And at the other end, 3-point hit quick in the clock. Micah Robinson from straight away knocks down his second 3 of the half. 19-18 our score. Caden Boozer, quarterbacks for Duke. Feeds it left at the head of the arc. Brown skip pass to Evans off the right flank. Sharp shooter will drive inside, steps to the lane line, shoots a mid-range jumper, back of the rim miss. Rebound gathered after a couple of bodies clattered to the floor by Micah Robinson. TCU brings it back the other way. Robinson drives in from the right, hits the brakes. Low pass to the outside, picked up off the floor by Harding. Back around the horn. Pierre gives it to Lelavicius off left wing. Lelavicius feeds it, spinning his way to the foul line and hitting a fadeaway jumper from 15 feet away is Xavier Edmonds, and TCU reclaims the lead as we hit the midway point of the first half. It's 20-19. Caden Boozer again brings it up the floor. 2 Horned Frogs at the scorer's table, set to check in at the next whistle. Boozer hands it off for Isaiah Evans, who guides it back for Brown, and we've got a whistle away from the ball. Foul is called. It's against TCU as Toulson and Punch will come back in for Texas Christian. Toulson, of course, picked up 2 fouls earlier, and Punch went to the bench after picking up his first foul. And we'll get back. Duke is in the bonus, so a 1-1 at the free throw line here for Isaiah Evans, second best free throw shooter in the Atlantic Coast Conference this year. Knocks down his first foul shot, 88% from the line is Evans. Evans had 16 points in the win over Siena, along with 10 rebounds. Swirls in the second free throw to give Duke the lead back at 21-20. Evans with a double-double against Siena at 16 and 10. Cam Boozer had one at 22 and 13. TCU ball handled by Harding on the midcourt logo. Sarr defends. Harding left-handed dribble. Accelerates to his left. Comes into the corner. Curls it back outside. Robinson feeds punch. Handoff. Toulson outside right. Punch a screen. Rolls to the basket. He gets it to him. Now he kicks it out. Harding extra pass. Robinson elevates for three. Off left wing. It misses offside iron. Sarr is there for the rebound. Diagonal outlet. Caden Boozer again. Hooks it to his left. Cameron Boozer. Covered up defensively on the perimeter by Edmonds. Cam will put it on the deck and drive through. Bounce pass in for Gungba. Loses it out of bounds. Turnover by Gungba and Duke. Again, he hasn't been gone for too terribly long, Gungba, but it has been about 20 days. Today's the 21st of March. His last game that he played was on March 2nd. And still a feeling out process for Gungba on the floor. Fifth turnover of the half for Duke. They only committed 6 for the whole game on Thursday. And TCU has it on offense at the other end. Harding feeds the right corner. Toulson tight ropes the boundary. Tried to kick it cross corner. Intercepted by Cam Boozer. Outletted. Evans got bumped as he drove down the lane. No whistle, but Evans doesn't care. He scores anyway with the left hand. Evans can really fly. Sword to the basket right there. TCU back on offense. Punch, top of the circle. Dribbles to his right. Fakes a handoff. Now gives it to Robinson. Pull-up jumper. 17-footer misses. Flying in. Toulson for the rebound. He scores. And a foul called on Caden Boozer, who was trying to strip the ball away. And Toulson has a chance at a three-point play. So Toulson, they brought him back in despite picking up 2 fouls early, and he pays that decision off for Jamie Dixon with a fine play right there. Toulson started his collegiate career at BYU and has spent the last 2 seasons at Utah Valley before transferring to Fort Worth. Toulson's and one free throw up, misses off back iron. Cameron Boozer lassos in the rebound. And he'll slowly bring it up the floor with Duke leading by 1. That was TCU's first free throw attempt of the game. Duke is 7 of 7 from the line. Evans, top of the arc, launches a 3 while getting fouled, and he hits it. A line drive, 3-point hit from Evans, and he's got a chance to make it a 4-point play, as he had Harding on skates, and then eventually Harding just couldn't get out of his way. Evans with great body control rising up through the contact, which he may have initiated. But the Slim Reaper hits a big 3. He's already got 2 3-point hits, and he knocks down the free throw as well. And Duke's lead is 27-22. So already into double figures, Evans. TCU back up the floor with Harding. High, hard, left-handed dribble. Bounces it to the left corner, Toulson. Return for Harding on the wing. Swings it cross-court. Robinson feeds the middle. Punch at the foul line. Flips it back on the right baseline. Toulson takes the jumper there, misses, and it's Cameron Boozer with yet another rebound. Rebounding machine, Cameron Boozer. Over 10 a game. And that game on Thursday against Siena was his 20th double-double. Evans catch and shoot 3, right wing, missed everything. Himinia trying to save it from going out of bounds. Could not. And the ball will belong to Duke. Himinia down. Trying to save that ball from going out of bounds. Takes a moment to get to his feet, which he eventually does. Media timeout, under 8. 5-point lead for the Blue Devils. 27-22 ahead of TCU.
Matthew got a major update from the women's tournament out of Iowa City. Number 2 seed Iowa leading 15 seed FDU 35-33 early in the fourth quarter in Iowa City.
Wow.
Oh my.
That is the voice of Pierre Moss. He has joined us here. Great to have you with us, Pierre. Great to have someone to do the updates during breaks.
Oh yeah.
But
Oh yeah.
glad to have you with us, Pierre. And yeah, we did that update of all the women's scores a moment ago, I think on the last time out, and that is such a low-scoring game. That's playing right into FDU's wheelhouse. So FDU men pulled a 16-1 upset a couple of years ago. Now the FDU women trying to pull a 15-2 upset at Carver Hawkeye.
That would be stunning. That would be stunning. But then again, FDU did win a school record 30 wins this season, 30 games this season. So we'll see how I was able to handle this one.
Yeah, absolutely. Glad to have you with us, Pierre. Some early thoughts here from you of the start that we've seen between Duke and TCU.
I like the pace of the game for both teams, to be honest. But I would still give the edge to Duke as far as athletically. TCU, I really don't think they want to get into a run and gun, up and down style game with Duke. I think TCU would like to slow down just a tad, but not too much.
Well, we will see how the rest of this game plays out. If you want to be heard, you need to pull your microphone back in front of your mouth. Yeah, but I'm with
That
you.
always helps.
Yeah, it does. I'm with you. I think the pace of the game has been. I think the pace that both teams are trying to set has been good, but we talk about it all the time, don't we, when we get to March? How will these games be officiated? And right now, TCU, who comes, of course, out of the Big 12, which just about everyone in the Big 12 is a very physical team. Right now, this physical TCU team's being called for a lot of fouls. Duke got into the bonus really early.
Yeah, and that does not favor TCU, of course. They're going to have to really play smart defense and try not to get called for so many fouls.
So we will hear from Pierre during breaks and during halftime, and we'll get his thoughts on the earlier games that we saw today in Buffalo. He called one of them, so get his thoughts on those two games from earlier in the day as we move on through this second-round game in Greenville, where it is Duke and TCU, ACC versus Big 12, for a spot in Washington, D.C. in the East Regional, which will play next Friday and Sunday, Sweet 16 and Elite 8 games. Jamie Dixon, very experienced head coach, of course. He's been in a lot of NCAA tournaments with Pittsburgh and now with TCU. Hard to believe it's his 10th season at TCU. That's quite incredible to think about. His team has done a good job not only staying in touch with Duke here early, but they've led some of this game as well. And as we talked about with the fouls that are being called, Duke is now in the double bonus. So they will be shooting 2 free throws on every TCU foul from here to the finish of the half, which is a big advantage for Duke. This half, as you can see, still has over 7 minutes left in it. TCU's on offense. And with a late shot clock at 5, it's in the hands of Edmonds up top. Lobs it in. Good catch over the shoulder by Punch, but then he had it knocked away by Gungba. Ball rolls out of bounds on the near side. It's going to stay with TCU, but the shot clock only has 0.2 of a second on it. So all they could do here is lob and tip it. That swarming defense of Duke, once again, creating havoc. Pierre inbounds it, and the 3 gotten off by Harding is too late. And that is a shot clock violation and a turnover by TCU. Duke inbounds it, and up the floor they come with Nicholas Jimena giving it off to Cameron Boozer. Boozer into the front court, slices to his left, up the lane line, lobs it up top, and Gungba over the top with his back to the basket, able to steer a tip up and in. And there's that combination that they've loved through so much of the season. Cameron Boozer to Patrick Gungba. You can just see, even with Gungba maybe not at 100% and on a minutes restriction, how this Duke team looks so different when he is on the floor versus what they've been with him out of the last 5. TCU back on offense, facing their largest deficit so far at 7, and Edmonds throws the ball away. A bounce pass across the lane intended for Punch goes out of bounds. Not only the largest deficit of the day for TCU, largest deficit so far of the tournament, as they did not trail very much against Ohio State. In fact, the Frogs had a 15-point halftime lead in that game, gave it all up in the second half to come back and win it late. Cameron Boozer, drive, kick, right corner. Hemenia free to fire, 3 is around the rim and out. Rebound picked up off the floor. Edmonds quickly outlets. Harding gets into the front court. Back for Edmonds, slices his way inside and drives into the body of Nicholas Hemenia, who's called for a blocking foul. It's on the floor. Actually, no, I think they're going to call it in the act of shooting. Yeah, they're going to say that Edmonds was on his way up, so Edmonds will get 2 free throws. Again, you can see the foul discrepancy on your screen. 9 fouls called against TCU. That's just the 5th called against Duke. Edmonds at the free throw line, 65% for the season. Coming off his 23rd game in double-figure scoring on Thursday, and he's able to place home the first free throw. Caden Boozer checks back in for Duke. Gungba stays out there. Again, John Shire told Tracy Wolfson of CBS Sports before the game that he will be on a minutes restriction. He averages about 22 minutes a game off the bench, or as a starter, rather. That free throw misses off back iron, and we've got a whistle and a foul going against TCU, I think, going for the rebound here, and if that is on David Punch, that would be his 2nd foul. So this is a big call here. Punch and Gungba jousting for that rebound, and Gungba's arm was in there. Let's see. What are they going to call here? They've actually given that foul to Gungba now, and TCU will hold possession. That's Gungba's 2nd. That is important as the inbound comes to Edmonds, who drives the right baseline. Flips a pass outside. Robinson, touch pass back to Pierre. Pierre finds Harding, who cuts it harshly into the left corner. Punch tried an interior feed that got deflected. Edmonds recovered it. Now off the left baseline, he shoots a jumper over Cam Boozer. Comes up short. Rebound down to Duke, and the Blue Devils will bring it up the floor, leading by 6 as we close in on the final 5 minutes of the first half. Caden Boozer takes a screen from his brother. Now he flips it cross court. Evans is open out of the left corner, catches and fires a 3. He's already made 2, missed that one. Offensive rebound, Brown. Back to the outside. Caden Boozer to Evans, curls inside, and an acrobatic layup goes for Isaiah Evans. And he's feeling it early as we've got a timeout taken by TCU. So a timeout taken by Jamie Dixon and Isaiah Evans. Now, when he's performing like this, it's really hard to beat Duke because they've already got Cameron Boozer. They've already got the great defense. But, boy, when Evans is playing like this, which is, one, hitting threes, which he's always going to be a threat to do, but when he's cutting and slashing to the basket and finishing at the rim, this is going to be a tough team to beat. TCU finding that out here. Just over 5 minutes to go first half. We've got an 8-point game. Pierre, bring you back in. Let's start, and we'll save some stuff for halftime too. Let's start with the Michigan and St. Louis game from earlier today. This has been the case with Michigan all year long, hasn't it? Whatever they do in the first half, whether they're up single digits, whether they're down, this Michigan team, they have so many bodies and so much depth, it makes their team such an elite second-half team. They were up at halftime by single figures against St. Louis, and then they just wiped them out in the second half.
Yeah, and I mean that's why it's so good to have that kind of depth, because when you have that kind of depth and effective depth at that, I mean, you can beat just about anybody. And if you give this Michigan team opportunities, well, they're going to do their thing against you, in particular in the second half, and St. Louis just had no answer for them.
Well, it would be a heck of a story and a heck of a scene if this Michigan team could make a run to the Final Four like so many people think they could, because we have seen we have seen all season long how good this Michigan team is, Pierre, and only 3 teams have beaten them, right? Wisconsin, Duke, and Purdue.
That's it. Yeah, that's it. Yep. Wisconsin, Duke, and Purdue. Yep, that's it. That's it. But I do have a major update for you on Iowa City.
Yeah.
The FDU women, they are proving to be a tough team to beat. 6:21 left to go in the fourth quarter. Iowa 44, FDU 43. FDU currently on a 7-0 run.
Wow.
That game's a commercial as we speak.
Well, man, oh man.
Yeah.
You get those top 16 overall seeds in the women's tournament. They get to play at home. And of course, A big story coming into that game is how hot it is. It's hot in Iowa City today, Pierre, and there's no air conditioning in Carver Hawkeye Arena. And maybe the heat is getting too hot for the second-seeded Hawkeyes, who, of course, the last time we saw them play, they got bludgeoned in the Big Ten tournament final by UCLA.
Yeah, they really did. They really did. So maybe that game is having an effect. Maybe the lack of AC is having an effect. Or maybe FDU really is that good and FDU is having an effect. Well, clearly, FDU is having an effect. I mean, it's a 1-point game with a little over 6 minutes left to go. I mean, this would be one of the biggest upsets ever on the women's side for sure.
It absolutely would. We'll keep you updated there as we get back underway. TCU on the ball, and they work it inside, and Edmonds goes right to the rim. Brown was late arriving, and Edmonds lays it in. Much-needed basket there from TCU. They had gone over the last 3 minutes without a field goal. They cut it to 6. We're inside the final 5 of this first half. Caden Boozer has the ball in the March Madness logo. Lofts a pass inside. Brown catches, cuts to the rim, and no one's home to stop him. Brown dunks it down. And Duke's lead balloons back up to 8. 7-point first half here for Malik Brown, who does so much for this team, although he doesn't do a lot of scoring. His role on this team is so very important. Already doing more scoring in this first half than he normally does. He averages 5 points a game, 7 in the half. Here's Edmonds for TCU, right lane line. Kicks it out. Robinson is open, left wing 3. Misfires off the right side of the rim. Cameron Boozer has the rebound come to him for Duke. He and Caden play catch on the perimeter, and Cameron's into the front court, holding the ball over his head. Looks to his left, puts it on the deck. He'll drive it, punch, throws up a lob. Brown catches, can't bank it home. Good defending around Brown. It was amazing that he made the catch that he did. There's a TCU player behind the play that I think is shaken up. It's Punch, and they're going to stop play here. I think Punch might be bleeding. Oh, he is. Yeah, Punch is bleeding from the nose. He was in there defending that lob to Brown, and I wonder if he got caught across the face while trying to defend that. Clock is under 4 minutes, so this will count as the media timeout, as David Punch will get cleaned up. Of course, we had blood flowing from a TCU player on Thursday here. That was Brock Harding who got bloodied up late in the Ohio State game. Timeout on the floor here. Duke leading by 8 with under 4 minutes to go in the half. And Pierre, I'll send it right back to you as we're going to stay tuned in on this Iowa FDU game. This is the 2:15 matchup in Regional 4 of the women's tournament.
FDU has the ball. They're going to try a 3, and they got it. Iowa 48, FDU 46. 5 minutes, 15 seconds left to go in the game. Hawkeyes have the ball. Oh, boy. And keep in mind the stat here. Coming into this game, the 2 seed versus the 15 seed, 126-0 for the 2 seed all time.
Yeah.
In the women's tournament, and now Iowa has just been called for travel, and the Iowa head coach is going nuts.
Wow.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, the women's tournament was the first to have a 16-1, and it was all the way back in 1998. Harvard beat Stanford 71-67. Tara Vanderveer, her Cardinal team, losing to 16th-seeded Harvard in 98, but a 15 has never beaten a 2 in the women's tournament, which, of course, we've seen on a few occasions on the men's side.
Now, out of those 126 wins for the 2 seed, 5 of those games have been decided by 5 points or less. FDU had the ball, but they turned it over in the front court. Iowa's got the ball back now. 4.5 minutes to go in the game, and Iowa just got a bucket underneath. They lead by 4, 50-46, 4:20 left to go in the game. Ava Hayden, she's having a very good day for Iowa. 25 points now for Ava Hayden. FDU with the ball. Mid-range jump shot, no good. It's an air ball. Hannah Stokey grabbed the rebound for Iowa. They got the ball up by 4 minutes left to play. They get into Hayden again, and Hayden scores again. Hawkeyes up by 6, less than 4 minutes to go. 52-46. And a timeout for FDU. Ava Hayden, 27 points now. She had 10 points in the first half, 17 in the second half. Good timeout by FDU with 3:45 left to go in the game.
Well, we will follow that story as it continues. As a 2 seed is on the ropes in the NCAA women's tournament. That is Iowa trying to fend off FDU. Meanwhile, here in Greenville during the timeout, officials have gone to the monitor and they are taking a look at a replay of Cameron Boozer when he went to make his move and put that ball on the deck and start driving his way inside. It was his elbow that got Punch in the nose, and that's what drew the blood from David Punch, and they are taking a look at that play on the monitor to see if it should be upgraded. So they are still talking about that. The officials are over next to the scorer's table, far side of the floor. And we'll see what verdict they come to. The officiating crew for this game is Clarence Armstrong, Paul Selk, and Gregory Nixon. They have plugged up the right nostril on David Punch during this timeout. Obviously, very important player to this TCU team. Goes without saying for the guy that leads the team in scoring and rebounding. And a really terrific season for Jamie Dixon's team. This review's taking an absolute age here, Pierre. Did you see last night? I know you were with us for the finish of that UCLA and UCF game. Did you see where the last 4 minutes of that game took 34 real minutes to finish? I mean, what are we doing?
Yeah, I heard on Twitter that the last minute alone, just the last minute alone, took 18 real minutes.
I mean, that's ridiculous.
What are we doing?
I mean, come on.
I mean, that's just stupid. I don't understand that. By the way, back to Iowa City quickly. Ava Hayden taking 2 free throws for Iowa. She makes the first free throw. Now the Hawkeyes back up by 7. 53-46, 3:12 left to go in the fourth quarter. And Hayden's second free throw is good as well. So Hawkeyes now up by 8, 54-46. 3:12 left to go in the game. Hayden's got 29 points. That's a career high for her. FDU trying to find an answer. Trying to cut this deficit with 3 minutes left to play in the game.
And I think we might be finally about to get the verdict from this review that has taken as long as you could possibly imagine it to.
Yep. There we got a little preview, but here's the real thing.
After review, it was determined that number 12 White committed a flagrant 1 elbow foul against number 15 in the blue on the previous possession. By rule, we are still within the window to penalize that. 2 free throws would be awarded to Black 15. Unfortunately, he's unable to shoot his free throws. Therefore, anybody can shoot that.
So, it is a flagrant 1 that has just been given to Cameron Boozer. So Punch would have shot those free throws, but they're saying he is unable to shoot the free throws. So we'll see who TCU sends to the free throw line here. You would expect it to be Latauris Lelavicius, and it is. So Lelavicius at the free throw line, and he misses the first off the front of the rim. He's a 90% free throw shooter, but he misses there. Has one more to come. Spins the ball in his hands. Lelavicius puts it up and in. So he goes 1 out of 2. So they get a point from the free throw line there from Lelavicius. Now they will retain possession, will TCU, with that flagrant foul. And TCU inbounds it, and play finally restarts after what felt like 10 minutes. Punch on the bench as TCU handles the ball with Pierre. Dribbles along the perimeter from his left to his right. Now he feeds it left on the elbow. It's working inside with Edmonds, who goes underneath the basket, and going up is Robinson, and he's fouled by Cameron Boozer. Boozer bit on the hesitation, and Boozer goes airborne and commits another foul. So 2 quick fouls on Boozer here in the space of about 20 seconds of game time. And after he went the first 16 minutes without picking up any fouls, he's picked up 2 back-to-back. Last guy that John Shire needs to be in any kind of foul trouble is Cam Boozer. First free throw is good for Micah Robinson. Robinson with a 9-point first half. Misses the second free throw. Isaiah Evans collects the rebound for Duke. So Cam Boozer and Patrick Gungba each with 2 fouls for the Blue Devils. Toulson and Lelavicius each have 2 for TCU. Evans out of the right corner shoots a 3, misses too strong. Rebound up for grabs. Brown trying to save it from going out of bounds, and he has absolutely whipped it out of bounds off of Jaden Pierre, who might have taken that ball right around the face. Brown trying to save it from going out, wanted to bank it off of Pierre. That's exactly what he did, but boy, Pierre's probably a bit shaken up. Brown with those quick reactions. Did a good job to save it, but Pierre feeling the effects of that. As yeah, Brown, wow, right off the head. Duke does keep possession. And they will inbound from underneath. Duke in home white uniforms, royal blue numbers and trim. Inbound to Caden Boozer. Swings a cross-court pass for Evans, who nearly lost the dribble. Picks it back up. He's got 10 on the timer. Brown sets a screen. Evans slips it to Brown, who finds Saar up top. He locates Caden Boozer, drives in from the right, hooks it left corner. Evans, contested 3, defended by Toulson, no good. Rebound, grabbed by the Horned Frogs of TCU, and Lelavicius brings the ball up the floor, gives it in to the hands of Harding. Hamenia up at the scorer's table, set to check in at the next whistle for Duke. Here's Edmonds, top of the circle, chiseling in on a drive against Brown. Hooks it up and gets it to go down. Edmonds from 5 feet away, able to shovel that one up and in. 10-point first half for Edmonds and TCU. Back within 4 after a moment ago they trailed by 8, and we've got contact away from the ball. Foul going against TCU here. Edmonds fouling Brown. And that'll be free throws for Malik Brown, as Duke again is in the double bonus. So Malik Brown to the free throw line. In the regular season, just 27 free throw attempts for Brown. He only made 11. Edmonds picks up his second foul, so the third Horned Frog to pick up 2 fouls in this first half. That's a lot of spinning plates for Jamie Dixon to keep a hold of there, as Brown's first free throw is up and good. Winner of this game goes to Washington, D.C. to play a Sweet 16 game Friday night against either Kansas or St. John's, and we'll talk a little bit about that Kansas and St. John's game that'll be going on tomorrow. Talk about that at halftime. One more for Brown at the line, and he misses that one. Left side of the rim miss. Tanner Toulson pulls away the rebound for TCU, who trails by 5. Brought up by Harding in the final 2.5. Harding right-handed dribble, directs a bounce pass to Edmonds. Flicked across the floor. Toulson turns the corner, right elbow, swings it back up top. Robinson entry feed. Edmonds mid-post left. Knocked out of his grasp by Brown, out of bounds on the near side, stays with TCU. Still no David Punch on the floor since that elbow to the nose that he took. That resulted in a flagrant foul on Cameron Boozer. Can tell you Texas A&M and Houston is underway in Oklahoma City. We'll get an update of that game for you when we get a chance. TCU on the inbound. Up top, Harding threads it for Edmonds, feeds the right corner. Open look at a three for Toulson, misfires. Rebound tapped by Hemenya into the hands of Caden Boozer, and Duke has possession. Brown swings a pass two-handed to his right. Isaiah Evans in the corner, leading scorer for Duke in this half. Tries to get a running start, feeds it left for Caden Boozer. It's off his hands and stolen by Harding. Flushed ahead in transition. Edmonds behind the pack, gets to the rim and lays it in. It's a three-point game. More points for Edmonds as he gets the transition to Duke with their 6th turnover of the half, and momentum starting to turn a little bit here into TCU's favor. Brown holds the ball, top of the circle, straddles the arc, whips a pass inside for Dame Sarr, and we've got a whistle and a foul going against TCU as Sarr got pulled back as the pass came his way. Foul is on Lelavicius. That is his 3rd. 3 fouls now on Lelavicius, who does play an important role on this TCU team, particularly with three-point and foul throw shooting. First free throw is good from Sarr. Jaden Pierre checks back in for Jamie Dixon. He'll replace Lelavicius. Still Punch is on the bench. One more at the line for Sarr, freshman from Oderzo, Italy. And he hits the second foul shot. 36-31 our score. Full court pressure here from Duke as Harding tries to get the ball up court. He does for Tooling, who bounces it into the front court for Pierre. Now back for Harding, who's going to finish the half the best and get momentum going into their locker room. Off the right wing, Pierre centers back for Harding, swings it left into the corner. It's Toulson rising for 3 and connecting. Tanner Toulson hits the three-pointer. He only hits 29% of his threes, but he's hit 2 in this first half. It's 36-34, under a minute to go in the first half. Caden Boozer dribbles into the front court for Duke. Brown sets a high screen. Caden on the drive, goes to the rim, lost the ball, picked up on the other side of the lane by Brown, who goes up and draws a foul. Foul is on Edmonds. And boy, these fouls are really racking up for TCU. 2 shots at the line for Brown. .4 rebound half for Malik Brown, and his first free throw here clatters around the rim and drops in. David Punch checking into the game for TCU. First time he's been in since taking that elbow to the nose. Brown's second free throw is good. He hits both. 4-point lead for Duke. TCU inbounds. Black uniforms, white numbers, purple trim. Attacking from our right to our left and brought into the front court by Harding. Left-handed dribble. He slashes left. Strong drive. Running floater around the rim. No. Punch tapped the rebound. Couldn't control it cleanly. And it's into the hands of Duke's Isaiah Evans. And here come the Blue Devils. They can't quite take it all the way down. There's a 7-second difference between the clocks, and John Shire takes a timeout. Hadn't taken his use it or lose it timeout yet. He'll do that here, as we've got 30 seconds left in this first half. And this will be a 30-second timeout, but real quick, let's go to Pierre. What do we got going on in Iowa City?
Well, it is all over in Iowa City. Iowa did their best to try to keep FDU in the game by missing a bunch of free throws, but Iowa's defense held strong at the end. Final score from Iowa City, Iowa 58, FDU 48. And I'll tell you what, the final score may have been a 10-point deficit, but this game was a lot closer than that.
Wow. Well, that is a survival job. And
that it is.
Iowa,
that it is.
Iowa does just enough to escape what would have been really horrible ending to their season if they were to have gotten beaten in the Big Ten final as badly as they did by UCLA and then lose on their home floor to start the tournament to a 15 seed. Duke inbounds. They've gone the last 4 minutes without making a shot from the field. 7-second difference between the clocks. They lead by 4. Caden Boozer on the March Madness logo at midcourt with Jaden Pierre right in front of him. Brown comes out for a screen. Caden drives to the right of it in the lane. He kicks it out to the left corner. Evans is open for 3, left it short, and the rebound taken by TCU and nearly stolen by Brown. Ball ends up out of bounds. It's off Brown last. 6 seconds left in the half. And TCU is going to have time to get up the floor and get a shot off here before the buzzer sounds. Vianney Salachum, who doesn't play very much for TCU, just 5 minutes a game off the bench, came in there because of all the foul trouble, and he got the rebound. Lelavicius checks back in here for the final seconds. Inbound Harding racing up the left side of the floor, crosses midcourt, has it knocked away, recovers, he goes to the rim, reverse layup, off the back in front of the rim at the buzzer. And that will bring us to halftime with Duke in front of TCU 38-34. So Duke, who trailed by double digits at halftime on Thursday against Siena, they do lead at the half here, but it's not by a lot. TCU sticking with the Blue Devils in this first half. Let's take a look at some first half numbers. The Blue Devils shooting 48% from the field to TCU's 42%, but TCU took 8 more field goal attempts than Duke did. Most of that because Duke had so many trips to the free throw line. Blue Devils were 13 of 14 from the foul line, while TCU was just 3 of 7. From three-point range, the Horned Frogs knocked down 5 of 13. Duke was just 3 of 10 from beyond the arc. Duke is plus 7 on the glass, 18-11 they're out rebounding TCU by. They have 4 offensive rebounds to TCU's 2. Big number in the first half was turnovers. Duke turned it over 6 times. That led to 9 TCU points. 4 TCU turnovers, 6 points off of them, scored by the Blue Devils. Duke leads scoring in the paint by a small margin of 16-14. Duke led for 63% of the first half. Their largest lead was 8. TCU's largest lead was 3. And we basically cut that right in the middle. And the halftime lead is Duke by 4. That's the story of the first half from Greenville, South Carolina. Top-seeded Duke ahead of 9th-seeded Texas Christian University, 38-34. So we will go into halftime mode here. We'll recap final scores from around both the men and women's tournament throughout the day, and we'll take a look at ongoing games. Let's start with the women's tournament, full day of first-round action in the women's tournament. And if you missed it earlier, here's how the finals have looked. Again, this is round of 64 action in the women's tournament. 3rd-seeded Ohio State on their home floor dispatched of Howard 75-54. Louisville got a 20-point win over Vermont. South Carolina did not play around with Southern, as you may imagine. A 103-34 final score. South Carolina outscored Southern in the third quarter 32-2. Don Staley's team with an emphatic victory. The first low seed to win in this women's tournament was Virginia. A 10 seed beat Georgia in overtime, 82-73. Notre Dame knocked off Fairfield. Good season for Fairfield, but they lose in the first round today by 19 against Notre Dame, who wins at 79-60. Kentucky over James Madison, 71-56. Alabama knocked over Rhode Island by 13. UConn steamrolled to a 90-52 win over the University of Texas San Antonio, and the overtime game that just finished not too long ago, USC wins against Clemson 71-67, and of course the game we were keeping our eyes on, Iowa beating FDU 58-48. 2 women's tournament games going on as we speak. West Virginia looks to be heading to victory over Miami of Ohio. West Virginia leads that game by 26 points. They're in the final minute of the third quarter, and then the third quarter has just started in Stores between Iowa State and Syracuse. The 9th-seeded Orange leading the Cyclones by 15. The score is 43-28. Later tonight, women's games that have not yet started. At around 7 o'clock, Vanderbilt will host High Point, while Oklahoma State takes on Princeton at 7:30. Illinois battles with Colorado at 9:30, and UCLA, a number 1 seed that lost just 1 game all year long, they're on their home floor against Cal Baptist as a 51.5-point favorite. My goodness. That's the story from the women's tournament today. Let's talk about the men's tournament. Michigan beating St. Louis 95-72. And I'll bring in Pierre Moss for this. We talked earlier about this game. I want to get a different angle at this, Pierre. Michigan seemingly struggled defensively against Howard in their first-round game Saturday. I think people were maybe a tick worried about Michigan giving up, 46 points in the first half and 80 points total to Howard. Defense looked a little bit more sewn up today as they beat St. Louis by 23.
Yeah, it definitely did. Even in that first half, they were more active defensively, I thought. And again, just really taking advantage of their athleticism. And no doubt their head coach, Dusty May, I'm sure reminded them of the kind of defense that they need to play that is going to be needed in order for them to advance in this NCAA tournament. And they certainly played that kind of defense today against St. Louis.
So Michigan is on to the Sweet 16 in the Midwest region. The second game of the day also was in Buffalo, and it also saw a Big Ten Michigan-based team advancing. Michigan State beating Louisville 77-69. The Spartans get the victory behind Cohen Carr's 21.10 rebound double-double. Jeremy Fears, one of the nation's best point guards, didn't shoot the ball well. 3 of 13 from the field. He scored 12 points. But the major factor, as it always is with Fears, he dropped a lot of assists. 16 of them, to be exact, to just 5 turnovers. Michigan State beats Louisville. Let's start with this, Pierre, jumping in from the Michigan State side of things. Tom Izzo's team goes back to the Sweet 16. A lot of talent on this team, as we know. Carr, of course, so athletic. And then Fears doesn't have to score to be the best point guard in the country. It's definitely either him or Braden Smith as far as best point guard in the country. Fears, just such a good passer, 16 assists today. How do we feel about Michigan State going to D.C. next week?
Well, they deserve to be there for sure, based on the performances of their first 2 games. And you talk about athleticism with Colin Carr. He had several highlight reel dunks in that second half especially. I mean, Flight 55 was definitely a full effect today. But talking about Jeremy Fears, yeah, I mean, like you say, didn't shoot the ball very well today, but he controlled the pace of the game, delivering all those assists. And those 16 assists, he breaks Magic Johnson's record, Michigan State record for most assists in the NCAA tournament game. So again, if those two are playing well, Michigan State's got a chance to not only get to the Final Four, but perhaps go all the way. But their big men helped out as well today, Kohler and Cooper. Watch out for them too.
Let's jump on the Louisville side of things, because a lot of people were very high on Louisville at the start of the season, and I was included on that. I had Louisville as a part of my preseason Final Four. There was a lot of talent around this team, particularly at the guard positions, and their three-point shooting was a huge weapon all season long, with guys like Ryan Conwell and Javon Hadley and Michael Brown, Isaac McNeely as well, the Virginia transfer. They could always knock down threes, but the problem of this team so much this season was the front court just was not physical and muscular enough against the bigger teams, and that really showed through today, as that front court just really had no answer for those guys, the forwards for Michigan State, like Carr and Cooper and Kohler.
Yeah, it really did. I mean, their backcourt is an ACC-level backcourt. Unfortunately, their front court is not at that same level. And I'm sure Pat Kelsey, the head coach, I'm sure he'll do everything he can to get that fixed in the offseason. Their backcourt is fine, but their front court needs a lot of work.
And, of course, they didn't have Michael Brown at all in this tournament. It's really a shame for his
that didn't
season
help either.
to have gone the way it did. Michael Brown, one of the best. I mean, we talk about this freshman class, and he was an incredible freshman, but he was out of the lineup so much throughout the regular season with recurring back injuries, and he didn't play in either of their tournament games, which really was a shame. But, you know, Pat Kelsey, that's a fine head coach there, and it's just his second year. His first year, he took them from really dark times that had befallen Louisville. Got them to the tournament last year, didn't win a game. This year, back in the tournament, seeding improved, did win a game. It's a natural progression so far through 2 years with Pat Kelsey, but I do think there are some of us, like myself, that's left feeling like we thought it would be a little bit better for Louisville this season, but still a solid season for that program. Duke and TCU at halftime here with the Blue Devils leading 38-34. We'll return you to the second half of that game here in about 15 minutes or so. Ongoing game between Texas A&M and Houston in Oklahoma City. That's the fourth tip-off of the day. They're about midway through the first half, Pierre. Houston currently leads 19-16. These two programs played an amazing second-round tournament game 2 years ago. See what the Cougars and Aggies give us tonight in OKC, at the Thunderdome, as it were.
Well, I'll tell you what, so far a very physical game, as you would expect between these two Texas schools. And, I mean, it's under 10 minutes left to go in the first half, and neither team has reached 20 points yet. So I'm thinking the way this game is going right now, the first one is 60 wins.
Kind of game that Kelvin Sampson's Houston team loves to play. They are only shooting 30%
Absolutely
from the field right now, Houston is. So we'll see if A&M can complete an upset. That's a 10 seed versus a 2 seed. That's the only other game going on along with ours. So let's look forward to the games that we've got coming up later tonight, Pierre. Let's start with the Portland Pod, shall we? Third-seeded Gonzaga, 11th-seeded Texas. Texas taking down BYU. Yet another team advancing from the first four to at least past the first round of the tournament. That's a Texas team that it's another one of those teams. When you get power conference teams that are seeded 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, you normally know what you're going to get from those two teams. You're going to get teams that are very talented. They just didn't live up to expectation during the regular season. They were a bit inconsistent. Do we think Texas has a chance to knock off Gonzaga tonight?
They certainly do. And Tremont Mark, I think he's the ultimate wild card in this thing. He gives them an excellent chance to win, but he has to play very, very well in order for Texas to knock off Gonzaga.
And we will have a live stream of that game on this channel at about 7 p.m. Eastern Time. That's only about 20 minutes away. The Zags and the Horns. Second game of the night here in Greenville, which we'll also have for you. That is Illinois and VCU. What a tale of two performances those two teams had in their first round games Thursday, Pierre. Illinois, they waxed Penn really from start to finish. You know, all this talk about all these big teams, I don't think Illinois gets talked about nearly enough. They have guys that can just put it in the basket all over that roster. They were terrific against the Ivy League champions on Thursday night. And VCU, of course, back from the dead after trailing by 19 in the final 15 minutes against North Carolina, roared back to force overtime where they eventually won.
Yeah, no doubt. This is definitely one of the games I'm looking forward to. I think this could be an up and down game. I think this game will be played somewhere in the 80s, maybe even the 90s. And I'm looking forward to seeing Keaton Wagler. I want to see what he does in the second round game against what should be a tough VCU defense.
See what the Illini and the Rams give us later tonight. That scheduled tip time is 7:50 p.m. Eastern Time, but you can probably expect it to be a little bit later than that. But it will be on the channel whenever it does take place. 8:45.
Oh, I just want to mention. Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Just want to mention one thing. I am a new fan of Phil Martelli's son, Phil Martelli Jr.
Yes.
I don't know if you saw it or not, but after the game the other day, he shouted out the student broadcasters for being there every single game this season, home and away. Very nice touch from him, very first class from him, and I am certainly a new fan of Phil Martelli Jr.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. And, you know, longtime fan myself of Phil Martelli Sr.
Same here. Yeah.
Underrated head coach. And his son's got good things going, it would seem, at VCU. Of course, he took Bryant to the NCAA tournament last year, did Phil Martelli Jr. Nebraska and Vanderbilt plays the second game of the day in Oklahoma City. That's a scheduled tip time of 8:45. I think we made the case here on Thursday on one of our streams, Pierre, that just feels like a strange matchup for an NCAA basketball tournament game, but it very well could be a fun matchup. These are two really good teams. I just don't know if you ever expect, March Madness game between Nebraska and Vanderbilt.
I mean, at the start of the season, you certainly would not have expected these two to be matching up in a second-round March Madness game, but here we are, and I got to be honest, I think this could be the game of the night. I think this could be a very good game. And honestly, I think it's a pick'em game, quite frankly.
I'm with you. Nebraska, of course, coming off what was a dominant win against Troy. A lot of people were picking Troy to win that game. Nebraska really walked right through it. Their first ever NCAA tournament win in program history, and a Vanderbilt team that less than a week ago they stomped Florida in the SEC tournament in Nashville and then played a really strong final where they eventually lost to Arkansas. Interesting game there. Final game of the night, we'll have it here on the channel. That is Arkansas and High Point. Speaking of that Arkansas team, Darius Acuff leads the way for the Hogs, Pierre. Of all the great players in college basketball this season, there are great players, and then there are players that are the most valuable to their teams. And if we had a college basketball MVP and you were taking the word valuable literally, I think no one is more valuable to their team than Darius Acuff is to Arkansas.
No question. I mean, Acuff, you take him off this team, Arkansas is not a tournament team. They're really not. I mean, he's that important to their success. They don't play a bunch of guys as is. So, honestly, Acuff has been one of the outstanding freshmen this season, but he's got a bunch of athletes with him. And I'll tell you what, High Point does not want to get into a run and gun game with this team, or else it could be what Arkansas did to Hawaii the other night, turn into a dunk contest. I think it was maybe 22 dunks they had in that game. Some ridiculous number.
Yeah, Arkansas, we know how talented they are, and they have got great playmakers all over the floor for that Razorback team. But let's spend a moment on High Point, Pierre, because we know what they did on Thursday. A lot of the things that we say about Arkansas, we were saying about Wisconsin too. Elite backcourt, guard play, which we always talk about in March. Wisconsin had all of that, and High Point found a way, hanging in the game and then making big plays down the stretch. It's a heck of a win for a High Point program that was in the tournament last year. They were a trendy upset pick last year. Didn't happen against Purdue, but it does happen all the way across country. High Point, North Carolina, of course, to Portland, Oregon. What a win for that program. And they have flown a lot of fans and a lot of students out across the country to be there for these games. We'll see what they can put up tonight against Arkansas. You think it's going to be a tight one?
We'll see. I mean, it'll be a tight one if they hit threes. It'll be a tight one if they hit threes and they can somehow stop Arkansas from getting out in the open court. If they can do those two things, then yes, it will be a tight game. But if they allow Arkansas to get out in the open court and they're not hitting threes, this one could get very ugly very early. But again, as far as High Point being a trendy upset pick, hey, it looks like we were a year early.
Yeah, it does. We'll see what they can do tonight against Arkansas. They're, of course, underdog again, but there has become they have established a tradition, or at least a personality of winning in that program over the last couple of years, and we'll see what they can do tonight. Tomorrow's slate of games starts with Purdue against Miami. Kentucky plays Iowa State, St. John's and Kansas, Tennessee and Virginia, Iowa, Florida, Arizona, Utah State, UConn, UCLA, and Alabama, Texas Tech is the 8-game lineup tomorrow. One or two games out of that bunch that sticks out to you that you want to talk about here?
St. John's and Kansas for sure. I think that is going to be a very physical game. I really do. And, of course, Zuby Ejiofor, the former Kansas Jayhawk, gets to go up against his former team. And then, of course, one of the most talked about freshman, Darren Peterson, he gets to go up against St. John. So that could be a very interesting game. And, oh, my. I mean, I'm certainly looking forward to it. I want to see if St. John's can get past the round of 32, unlike last season.
Such an intriguing game, isn't it? Because St. John's, we know what they are defensively. You know who else knows who they are defensively now? Northern Iowa does. Because I tell you what,
Absolutely.
you and I couldn't buy a basket early in that game. St. John's so good defensively, so compact defensively against a Kansas team. I mean, I guess you could call me lazy on this, Pierre, but all season long when I've talked about Kansas, I said I don't feel like it's overly complicated with Kansas. You're either going to get a Kansas team where Darren Peterson looks like the number one pick, or you're going to get a Kansas team where Darren Peterson either doesn't play, he's not playing much, or he doesn't look interested. And I think that's what makes the difference on if Kansas wins that game or if they don't. And honestly, I just think that makes the difference of Kansas' whole season, is if they get an engaged Peterson, they could beat anyone. If they don't, they can lose to anyone.
You just never know. I mean, you never know what you're going to get with this Kansas team this year. And that's really not a good sign. That's not what you want in the NCAA tournament. You want consistency when it comes to the NCAA tournament. But with this Kansas team, like you said, we don't know what we're going to get. We'll see.
Well, I will be very intrigued about that game because it's two different styles, that's for sure. And what a coaching matchup, though, huh? Rick Pitino and Bill
Oh, yeah,
Self.
for sure.
Oh, my goodness.
Two of the best in the business, without question. Looking forward to seeing how they match what's against each other. And I'll have that game tomorrow, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So definitely looking forward to doing that one.
Yeah, for sure. If Duke holds on to beat TCU in this game, that East Regional will have Duke, Michigan State, either St. John's or Kansas, and then either UConn or UCLA. Talk about some rich programs those four would be if it turns into that in D.C. next weekend.
Yeah, very blue blood worthy type of programs for sure.
Coaches like Izzo and Hurley, perhaps, Pitino, perhaps, Self, perhaps, Shire, perhaps. They loaded up that East region, and no doubt about it, it could be a Final Four atmosphere in Washington, D.C. Next week.
Yeah, no doubt about it.
If it turns out to be that. So, second half, not too far from getting started here with Duke and TCU. What do you think we're going to see in this second half, and what do we need to see, Pierre, from TCU if they are going to pull this upset?
Honestly, TCU needs to stop fouling. They need to stop fouling. They know how the referees are going to call this game. They need to stop fouling, take the game into their own hands. Don't put it in the hands of the referees. And honestly, as far as Duke is concerned, keep feeding Cameron Boozer the ball. He makes good things happen. Keep getting Isaiah Evans involved and see what you can get from Patrick Gungba.
Yeah, Patrick Gungba, of course, always a big story coming into this game. And we'll see what the second half looks like for him, dealing with that soreness in his foot. Second half underway, Duke with the ball, and Cameron Boozer's pass into the paint for Malik Brown taken away, and a TCU steal gets the half started, and David Punch out of the right corner. Fakes a three, kicks it outside. Robinson launches a three, misses. Putback somehow would not go down on a tip by Salachum. Long rebound to the perimeter. Harding comes up with it, and TCU still has it. Punch out of the right corner, open for three, misfires again. And Dame Sarr has the rebound. Lot of opportunities right there for TCU. Couldn't get any of them to drop. Duke will bring it up the floor. Sarr feeds Boozer inside. Kick right corner. Evans back to the point. Boozer, Caden Boozer, that is, with a pass across for Sarr that was deflected. Caden recovers it now. Caden out to Evans on the right wing. 5 to shoot. And Caden Boozer works inside and pushes it up in tight. And it is blocked out of bounds by Salachum. Stays with Duke, but the shot clock at just 2 seconds. So 2 on the timer here. Apologize for the technical difficulties with the scoreboard. Gotta love when that happens. We will get that rectified as we've got 2 seconds on the shot clock. And Duke will inbound from underneath. They've looked at the shot clock and reset it. Now it's 3.1 seconds on the shot clock. Evans inbounding to Boozer at the foul line. Cam on the drive, hesitates, goes up, banks it up, won't go, and a whistle. And the ball's going back over to TCU. Didn't hit the rim, that shot from Boozer in tight. It only hit glass, so it's a shot clock violation. Duke with a turnover, their 6th of the game. TCU brings the ball up the floor. They trail 38-34. We will get the scoreboard back up for you when we can. As Harding drives the left baseline, turns it out to the corner. Driving the baseline, Pierre, back out, Harding on the left wing, Sarr defends, timer at 5. Harding swings it up the middle, Robinson on the drive, Evans knocked it away, Robinson gets a fall-away shot up, middle of the paint, off the heel, no good. Malik Brown with the rebound. Both defenses digging in here to start the second half. Caden Boozer for Duke. Bounce pass to the head of the key for Cameron Boozer. Left-handed dribble down the lane, and he has it poked away. A steal by Harding, and TCU's got a 3-on-1. Bounce pass Robinson to the rim. It's Salachum dunking it down. And TCU is within 2. It's Vianney Salachum, who, as I mentioned earlier, he rarely plays, just 5 minutes a game off the bench, and he only appeared in 21 of their first 33 games with the basket at the other end. 3 is launched out of the right corner, and Dame Sarr misses. TCU's got the rebound, and up come the Horned Frogs. Chance to tie or take the lead here. Duke's gone 7 minutes since their last made field goal. Salachum on the perimeter, dribbles right, hands off for Pierre. Pierre dribbles to the left wing, gives it into the hands of Punch. Back out, Harding, left wing 3 for the lead, a brick. And Cameron Boozer's there for the rebound. Only 2 points for Cameron Boozer in this game. In transition, Sarr to the basket, and he went up for the layup, and it's blocked by Salachum. Salachum coming up with the biggest plays the entire year. At the other end, Punch a runner, glass and rim miss. Brown snaps a transition pass. Up the floor, intercepted by Pierre. Pierre slithers into the paint, left block, floater off the glass, no good. Rebound on the floor. Evans couldn't control it. Out to midcourt, Harding does for TCU. And Harding looks up at his teammates and says, "We got to calm down." So he slows the pace down. Salachum out for a screen. Harding, head of the arc. Dips it out to the left wing for Robinson. Turns the corner. He drives. Robinson's floater comes up short. He got the offensive rebound, and he puts it back up and in. And we're tied at 38. Duke the other way. Oh, Caden Boozer had it stripped. A steal by Punch. Behind the back feet in the lane. Robinson hits a floater. TCU is taking the lead. Sloppy play from Duke. John Shire with a timeout. The Blue Devils can't buy a shot from the field all of a sudden, and now they can't quit turning it over. And Harding with a behind-the-back feed in transition to Robinson, who hits the floater. TCU is up by 2. What a start to the second half, Pierre. Well, TCU's defense keying all of this up. And this Duke team struggling to hit shots from the field. And TCU is taking it to them. Wow. So the Blue Devils, who trailed for so much of the game against Siena on Thursday, find themselves behind in the second half here on Saturday. And John Shire is going to have to get this team back to playing the way they have all season long. So TCU by 2. And just underway in the second half in this 1-9 matchup in the East region, with the winner moving on to Washington, D.C. next Friday to play in the Sweet 16 against either St. John's or Kansas. Update from Oklahoma City. Houston is in front of Texas A&M 35-24. So Houston, who started that game shooting so poorly, started to get some shots to fall now, and the Cougars are ahead by 11. So TCU has come out of halftime, and they are certainly on a roll now, and their fans that are here in Greenville trying to keep the momentum in their corner, but they've got some great effort here on defense to start this second half, and some big-time minutes from Vianney Salachum, the senior from Cameroon, has come in and playing some really valuable minutes for Jamie Dixon's team. Duke out of that time, out of the inbound, and they run a great play to get an open look for Cam Boozer, who dunks down a Gungba feed into the paint. First field goal in 8 minutes for Duke, and we're tied at 40. They normally run really good stuff out of timeout. Certainly did right there. Now here's TCU on the ball. Toulson at the top of the key, directs it to his left. Pierre, Salachum a screen. Pierre moves it to the left wing for Punch. Punch on the deck. Cam Boozer defending. Punch moves in. Boozer was able to strip it away. Off the steal, it's Caden Boozer now in transition. Drops it for Cam. Fakes a three on the drive. Goes in through a crowd and has Toulson basically fall on top of him. They both hit the deck. It's a foul on Toulson. Boozer can really get guys to bite on those hesitations like that. And Toulson went flying and ended up tumbling over the left shoulder of Cam Boozer. And this will count as the under 16 media timeout. Tied at 40 at the first media timeout of this second half. Well, that was... it wasn't subtle, was it? What John Shire and Duke came out to run out of that timeout. As once again, John Shire and as I said earlier, this is a Duke team that really has the last, well, really all 4 years under John Shire. It's a really good team out of timeout. Shire draws up great plays out of timeouts, as he did right there. And so much about winning games in March is really about what are you doing to get easy baskets, and they had to work really hard of late to get easy baskets, and they weren't getting any baskets to fall for that 8-9 minute stretch, but got an easy one there out of the timeout as Gungba dished the assist to Cam Boozer on the dunk. And again, just a reminder that coming up in a matter of moments, we've got another stream here on the channel, second round action between Gonzaga and Texas. 3-11 seeds in the West doing battle. Seth Eves will have that live stream for you. That's coming up in just a matter of minutes between the Zags and the Horns out in Portland. First game of the day in Portland, along with High Point and Arkansas. Both games from Greenville and both games from Portland today here on the channel, with live streams of Duke TCU, VCU Illinois, Texas Gonzaga, and Arkansas High Point. Tomorrow we'll have 4 more streams for you of second round action, starting with Purdue and Miami at noon Eastern Time. We'll also have live streams tomorrow of Kentucky, Iowa State, UCLA, UConn, and Virginia, Tennessee. And we have another review. Officials have been at the monitor here during this timeout, and it looks like they are going to assess a flagrant 1 foul to Tanner Toolson there when he leapt up off the ground and came falling over the shoulder and over basically the entire body of Cameron Boozer. Bit on the up fake and went tumbling over the body of Boozer. So Toolson has been given a flagrant 1 foul. That's the second flagrant 1 assessed in this game. 1 to Boozer and Duke earlier in the first half. And it is Cam at the free throw line to shoot 2 free throws, and then Duke will have possession, and Cam Boozer hits the first free throw. One more for Cam at the line, and his second foul shot is good. So he hits both. Does the freshman from Miami, 78% free throw shooter. Knocks down 2. Duke reclaims the lead, and they'll have possession. That foul on Toolson was his third. Talked about the foul trouble that TCU found themselves in the first half. Isaiah Evans inbounds, top of the arc. Cam Boozer, entry feed. Gungba has it punched out of his hands, and it's another Duke turnover. A steal by Harding, who leads the transition break. Hits the brakes and gives it to Edmonds. Edmonds on the deck, drives it. Gungba, Edmonds goes up, and Gungba blocks it. Gungba ends up on the ground. He picks himself back up as Duke's into the front court. Caden Boozer tries to find a lane to attack. Swings it to his left on the wing. Gungba, entry feed for Boozer, and another foul is called on the floor against TCU. Gungba had that ball stolen from him, but right back down the floor he got on defense and was able to get the block. Now the inbounds pass wild. Evans can't catch it. TCU another steal, and Robinson Euro steps his way to the rim and lays it in. TCU with a transition basket as Duke turns the ball over for a 7th time in the first 5.5 minutes of this second half. Robinson able to Euro his way around Hemenya. And here comes Duke again in yet another dogfight. Committed 6 turnovers in the first half, 7 in the first 5 minutes and change of the second. 13 for the game is already well over their per-game average. Nicholas Hemenya on the ball. Moves it to the left wing. Evans turns the corner, drives inside off the right block, shovels it up through contact, and he scores. Evans with a chance at a 3-point play. The foul is on Xavier Edmonds. Brock Harding called for this foul. So Harding called for the foul. Evans absorbs the contact and gets the basket to drop. He'll go to the line, try to complete a 3-point play. Edmonds has picked up his, they have called it on Edmonds, so that's his 4th. Evans with an and 1 free throw, and he misses off the heel. Back tap by Boozer, collected by Lelavicius, who's on the floor with 3 fouls. Toolson has 3, Edmonds has 4. And here's Brock Harding for TCU. High screen from Punch. Harding swings it left. Edmonds, Robinson, now back to Harding. Harding looks to his right, skips along the perimeter, dishes into the right corner. Lelavicius puts his head down, wanted to drive up the right baseline. Hemenia cut him off, played back to Harding, shot clock winding down, slippery drive inside. Pierre goes up strong, he scores, plus a foul. Chance at a three-point play for Jaden Pierre as he'll try to put TCU back in front. He got Evans in the air. And now they're giving the ball to Duke to inbound, so apparently no foul on that basket. Not sure what the whistle was for. Gungba with a great pass inside. Caden Boozer catches, goes up and lays it in, and they definitely call a foul on the Boozer layup. And now Caden Boozer has a chance at a three-point play as he came off a screen from his brother, got to the basket. Gungba found him. Jaden Pierre commits the foul. Not a lot of scoring for Caden today after scoring 19 on Thursday, which was a career high against Siena. That's just his second field goal of the day, and one free throw is good. Duke leads 47-44. TCU brings it up the floor. Duke now plus 13 at the free throw line as Harding takes a screen, tried to split through two defenders, lost the ball. It's stolen by Dame Sarr. Duke will slow the tempo as Cameron Boozer brings the ball up. Centers for Gungba. Gungba in his first game in nearly 3 full weeks, down with a dribble on the top of the key. Sarr feeds it in. Boozer, a hard double, tries to spin out of it, looks to the basket, goes up, lays it in, and another whistle. Cam Boozer will go to the line, and now both the Boozer twins with a chance to complete consecutive three-point plays. Caden on the last trip, Cam on this one goes up and was fouled by Lelavicius. That'll be his fourth. Not a lot of scoring from either Boozer twin in that first half. Lelavicius has to go right back to the bench after picking up his fourth. And Cam Boozer at the line again, where Duke has had the huge advantage in this game. Free throw is good. And it's back-to-back Boozer twin three-point plays for Duke University. Cam already has 7 points in this second half. He had only 2 in the first. Duke's lead back up to 6. TCU on the ball. Jaden Pierre drives, throws up a lob, punch, catches, comes down underneath the basket, muscles it up, too strong off the glass, no good. Dame Sarr, the defensive rebound for the Blue Devils. Puts it in the hands of Caden Boozer, who will bring it up the floor. Caden into the front court, arches his back against the defense of Harding. Gives to Cam, rolls to the foul line, kick left corner, open look at a three. Hemenia misses. A rebound taken on the right side of the paint by Salachum, but we've got a whistle. And a foul is called against Duke in the scrap for the rebound. It goes against Dame Sarr. First foul called on Duke in the first 7 minutes and change of this half. Gives TCU possession, and it'll be walked up from our left to our right by Brock Harding. Harding left-handed dribble on the logo. Slashes to his left, hands off there for Pierre. Centered up top. Robinson directs it. Punch off right wing. Brown defends. Punch centers. Taken by Salachum. Playing huge minutes in this game for a guy that doesn't normally play a lot of minutes. He locates Pierre. He cuts to the right elbow. Pull-up jumper on the fade. Misses off back iron. Caden Boozer secures the defensive rebound for Duke. Caden brings into the front court. Zigzags from right to left. Drives his way to the arc. Brock Harding's all over him defensively. Nearly got a steal. Caden protects. Finds Brown. Cross court to Hemenia. Shot clock down to 10. Hemenia screen. Slips it in the right corner. Sarr fakes the three. Gallops in. Kicks out. Caden. Extra pass left corner. Hemenia triggers and knocks down a three. Timeout taken by TCU. They had the lead at the last time out. Now at this one they trail by 9 as Duke goes on a flurry. Nicholas Hemenia out of the corner pocket. Rattles in a triple, and the Blue Devils lead at 53-44. We'll be right back. Ready for play to restart, 53-44. Duke with a flurry here to go up by 9 straight points in the last 2 minutes for the Blue Devils as we get back underway here. TCU out of that timeout taken by Jamie Dixon to try to calm his team and halt the momentum. Tanner Toulson strikes a three, misses off front iron from straight away, but a sloppy outlet pass on the rebound by Cam Boozer goes out of bounds right in front of the Duke bench, so it's going to go right back over to TCU. A lot of that been happening with Duke today. 14th turnover of this game, and another one where it was off of an outlet pass. Malik Brown did that earlier, and now Cam Boozer here. They averaged 10.5 turnovers a game. That was their 14th. Here's Punch bringing it up for TCU. They slip it into him down low. He goes up. It's blocked. He goes up again, and he couldn't hit the layup. It was affected by Boozer. Back on the outside. Three loaded up. Harding from straight away knocks it down. So TCU on the offensive glass got a long rebound, and Harding hits the triple. 6-point lead for Duke, 53-47. Caden Boozer into the front court, skips it to the top of the arc, taken by Malik Brown. Brown looks left, finds Semenya, cuts down the lane, strong to the rim, he goes! And he misses the layup, but draws the foul. So a foul called on the slash to the rim by Semenya, contacted by Toulson. Semenya will shoot at the line. 65% for the season for the freshman from Los Angeles. First free throw is up and good. Nearing the midway point of this second half. Houston and Texas A&M is at halftime now. Houston's up 46-28. Texas and Gonzaga just underway. Second free throw misses. Cam Boozer gets the offensive rebound for Duke. And Dame Sarr puts it back into the hands of Caden Boozer. So a fresh possession here for Duke. Shot clock at 10. It only resets to 20, of course. Brown straddling the arc at the top of the key. Swings it right. Sarr, late shot clock. Does he know it? He does. Fades back with a three, and he hits it! A 4-point possession by the Blue Devils. A free throw by Semenya and a three from Sarr, which was all set up by a Cam Boozer rebound. Meanwhile, TCU back on offense. Toulson spreads it to Pierre off left wing. Feeds Punch up top. Punch seesawing from left to right at the top of the key. Turns it back outside, spotting up for three. Robinson answers back. Micah Robinson. Boy, has he had two good games here in Greenville this weekend. That three much needed there from TCU, their first three of the half. Here's Cam Boozer on the attack. Spins to his right, around Punch to the rim. He finger rolls it in. A much more aggressive Cam Boozer in this second half. We have a whistle to stop play here. Foul has been called away from the ball, I believe, on Duke. Yeah, it's on Malik Brown. Jousting along with Punch on the way up the floor. TCU inbounds from underneath. Right elbow, it's Robinson on the catch. Drifts back and hands it off. Here's Pierre driving right baseline. Sarr cuts him off defensively. Back up top, Toulson. Has it off the left wing. Jab at Semenya. Drives the baseline underneath the cylinder. Goes up. Layup is blocked by Brown. And I think the TCU bench just exploded. They thought that it should have been a goaltending call. They didn't give it to them. And Duke has the ball into the front court to our left. Caden Boozer pressured hard as he has been all day from Harding. Bounces a pass to Brown. Feeds it left. Cam Boozer left wing up for three. No, off the heel. Long rebound and a scrap for it. And we get a whistle and a foul. And that's going against Cam Boozer and Duke. It was a long rebound. Cam was going for it. TCU bench, by the way, they exploded because they thought that ball hit glass before the Brown block. They have a great point. That did hit the glass. That should have been a goaltend and 2 points to TCU. That's a miss by the officials there, and it cost TCU some points. That foul by Cam Boozer, his third. He stays on the floor, and just as TCU gets it back into the front court, we've got another whistle. And trying to figure out who this foul was on. The fouls have just been too much in this game. Caden Boozer is going to the free throw line, though, for Duke. They've called a technical foul on TCU. Caden Boozer has hit the free throw. It's a technical foul on the head coach, Jamie Dixon. Wow. Technical on Dixon. And that could be oh so costly, as Caden Boozer hit the first free throw, and now he hits the second one as well, and that is, wow. Heck of a swing right there in a game that's seen a lot of swings. Duke has now hit 20 free throws. TCU has only hit 3 in this game, a difference, of course, of 17 points on the board. TCU on the inbound. Toulson a lob. Punch tapped it. Couldn't get it in. He and Gungba fight for the rebound. Gungba has it. And the Blue Devils have possession now, leading by 11. Largest lead of the game. Caden on the deck. Kicks left corner. Evans, hesitation. Takes the three. It's off the heel. Weak side offensive rebound. Dame Sarr collects. Brings back to the perimeter. Feeds Caden back to Sarr. Right corner three. Fired! And knocked down! And Duke's lead swells to 14. Jamie Dixon wants another timeout, as the Blue Devils start to impose their will just a little bit more. Dame Sarr with the three, all created by another offensive rebound. Duke with a 14-point lead with just north of 8 minutes to go, and some back-breaking sequences here for Texas Christian University. And that technical foul on Dixon doesn't help either. So again, just a reminder, Houston and Texas A&M, they have made it to halftime. Houston is up by 18, 46-28 the score. And again, Texas and Gonzaga is just underway. And that is on a separate live stream here on this channel, is Texas and Gonzaga. So 64-50 now our lead. Duke in front for John Shire's team. And let's give you a look at what's going to come up on this channel throughout the rest of the weekend. Again, tonight we've got both games from Greenville and Portland covered for you today. So after we're done with Duke and TCU, we will have VCU and Illinois. And then after Texas Gonzaga, we'll have Arkansas and High Point as well. And then also tomorrow, 4 more live streams for you, starting at noon Eastern time with in St. Louis, with Miami taking on Purdue. That's at noon Eastern time. That's followed by Kentucky and Iowa State. Then a couple of games at night in Philadelphia, Tennessee, Virginia, and UCLA, UConn. Also in the middle of all of that at 3 p.m. Eastern time, NASCAR Cup Series runs at Darlington, the Goodyear 400. JBM crew on the call for you there for the 400-miler at Darlington. And then at 8 o'clock, also on the channel, NHL action. Calgary hosting Tampa Bay as the Lightning and Flames duel at 8 p.m. Eastern time. All of that tomorrow. What is that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 live streams on this channel for you tomorrow, with those 2 games in Philadelphia, 2 in St. Louis, NASCAR and hockey. Can't wait. Cannot wait. 8:25 to go here in this second half. Duke leading TCU 64-50. Second round game in the East region between the top-seeded Blue Devils and the 9th-seeded Horned Frogs. ACC versus Big 12. And Duke is on a 20-6 run right now, after TCU got off to a great start to begin the second half and took the lead. But they have been in all kinds of foul trouble through a lot of this game, has TCU. 3 players now with 4 fouls each. Toulson, Edmonds, and Lelavicius. Horned Frogs with the ball, long straight on three. Robinson, who's had a great game, has it clatter off the rim. Edmonds reaching for the rebound. We've got a foul going against Duke, and it's against Gungba. Third foul on Patrick Gungba. Duke's big man, back for the first time in 19 days, missed every game of the ACC tournament after missing their regular season finale against North Carolina and their first-round game here against Siena. TCU inbounds. Up top, it's handled by Pierre, who drifts to his left. Top of the arc, Gungba the one defending. He kicks it out to Harding. Harding slides into the paint, drops it down low, and we've got a whistle. And another Duke foul. Just under 8 minutes to go. TCU to inbound here. Inbounding it on the right baseline. Robinson comes open. Pull-up jumper misses, and Sarr reaches his right arm all the way behind his back to secure the rebound, and the Blue Devils have the ball again into the front court. Caden Boozer has it. Harding, who's been right on him defensively all day. Caden gives it up for Gungba. Top of the arc. He's pressed by Edmonds, lobbed in. Cam Boozer, tough catch, and he wriggles through two defenders, cuts to the rim, and dunks it down. 16-point lead, largest of the game for either team. Harding pivots in the lane, tosses it outside. Toulson feeds the right corner. Pierre lines up a three that they need. It doesn't go. Evans picks up the defensive rebound for Duke. Gungba ended up on the floor behind the play. He's picking himself back up. And Caden Boozer will run some clock here for Duke University. About 7 minutes to go, and here come the Duke fans to their feet here in Greenville. Caden feeds Gungba at the foul line, rolls in, lobs up top. Cam Boozer catches, taps, and scores. His tap rolls around the rim and goes down at the other end. Quick spin move to the rim. Toulson misfires on the fadeaway off the front of the rim. Another Duke rebound, and it's starting to get out of hand now for the Horned Frogs. John Shire with his arms outstretched, communicating to his team to slow the tempo. Start working a little bit of clock. Caden Boozer does just that. Locates Gungba top of the key. Another Gungba lob. Boozer deep catch, knocked out of his hands, out of bounds. It was Robinson who knocked it out, and it's off him last. Stays with Duke, shot clock at 7. And all year long, they have loved that big-to-big lob, whether it's Cam Boozer to Gungba or Gungba to Cam. And it has worked many, many times. They've used it already this weekend with Brown being on the receiving end of the lobs. Evans will inbound from underneath. Shot clock is at 7. Inbound top of the key, Cam locates Sarr. Sarr off right wing, steps back with a three, comes up short, and Edmonds flies in for the rebound. What a heck of a weekend he's had, and TCU's pushing. They need quick points. Pierre finds Edmonds trailing, Euros to the basket, banks it up with the right hand, no. Back tap on the rebound by Edmonds. It's recovered by Harding. Harding down the lane, his floater, glass in the rim, miss. Rebound pop back to him in the left corner. Sent back up top for Pierre. A reset. Pierre dribble drive against Evans. Pierre stumbles. We've got two players. It's fallen down all the way off the floor on the baseline. One is Gungba. The other is Edmonds. And play has been stopped because of those two. And Xavier Edmonds, well, let's see, getting a replay now. Oh, Edmonds just, wow, colliding into Gungba, using his body and basically just shoving him with his midsection all the way off the floor. And then after they were both on the ground, before either had gotten up, Edmonds kind of did a little slap with his foot at Gungba's leg. And that's why I think we've got officials at the monitor here. That's what they're talking about, is I think the after effects of that, which I'm not sure exactly what Edmonds was trying to do. He put his hand on the ground to steady himself and then just leaned into Boozer, just trying to bulldoze him out of the way. It's been a frustrating last 8 minutes or so for TCU after they led at points early in this second half. They came out guns blazing on defense to start the second half. So we do have it a review, third review of the day. And that just... a lot of that right there, not great from Edmonds. So 3 officials at the monitor. Houston and Texas A&M not yet come back from halftime. And in our other stream going on right now, Gonzaga leads Texas 18-15. They are about midway through the first half there with Texas and Gonzaga. As the officials continue to look at the monitor, Edmonds over on the TCU bench pleading his case. And John Shire then looking back at the other direction. Shire looking quite animated. I'm sure Shire's frustration here is that's the guy that has been hurt, plays such a big role on this team. He's been hurt, and they've been waiting so long to get him back, and now here he is being bulldozed completely off the floor by a defender, and Shire's frustration is pretty evident there. About to get the verdict, I think.
Double flagrant 1 fouls is confirmed. By rule, both players are charged with a flagrant 1 foul. The ball will be given to the team in control at the time of the foul, which is TCU on the baseline with no reset of the shot clock.
Double flagrant 1. And that means Edmonds is fouled out of the game because that becomes his 5th foul. So Edmonds has fouled out. Of course, that's also the 4th on Gungba. Oh my goodness gracious, look who is here with us in the comment section. Hold the phone. We've got Redbox in the comments. Wow, our old friend up north in Canada is TCU inbounds. Having missed 13 of their last 15 shots from the field, Pierre gets into the lane. Fadeaway jumper, an 8-footer, rattled out. Rebound popped up into the air. It was tapped out by Lelavicius. TCU recovers again, and they'll start another possession after the madness of the last 5 minutes. Here's Punch, pivots in the lane, goes up, and from behind, Cam Boozer with a rejection. Primary defender was Malik Brown, but Cam Boozer came up and swatted it away. Such great instincts from Cam Boozer defensively, and here goes Duke. Bleeding some clock with an 18-point lead, shooting better than 50% from the field in this half. Brown sets a high screen. Cam steps on the accelerator, gets to the rim, and lays it up with the right hand and in. Cam only had 2 points in the first half. His second half, he's got 15. TCU at the other end. Pierre pulls up. 17-footer from straight away is good. They had missed 14 of their last 16 shots from the field prior to hitting that one with Pierre, and it's 70-52. Pierre has had a struggle today, just 4 points scoring the ball for the senior from Elizabeth, New Jersey. Now Duke on the ball, under 5 to go. Cam Boozer, high post right, spins, turns it back out to his twin brother, Caden. Caden puts it on the deck, around a hedge, has it slapped away, and then it ends up going off of Caden, his foot and out of bounds. That was Robinson who slapped it away. And a turnover by Duke. They've been plagued by turnovers for much of this game. That's their 15th. TCU on the inbound. Up they come. 4.5 to go in regulation time. They trail by 18. Harding leaves it on the left wing for Robinson. On a weave, it's right back to Harding at the point. Left-handed dribble. Edge of the March Madness logo at midcourt. Shovels it on for Punch, who dribbles across the lane left to right. Handoff Pierre. Steps back. Long three. Clatters off the cup. No good. Brown contesting the rebound with Punch. Was able to grab it for Duke. And it's Caden Boozer into the front court as we approach the Final Four. Caden Boozer dribbles from right to left once again, arms outstretched, hands up from John Shire on the Duke bench, tells his team to slow their roll, run some clock. Brown entry feed to a cutting Evans. It's intercepted by Lelavicius. In transition, bounce for Robinson, kick into the left corner. Harding drives the baseline, spins on Himenia, kicks one into the right corner, deflected and stolen by Cam Boozer, who gallops with long strides the other way, gives it up for Evans in transition to the rim and from the right, lays it in. Cam Boozer with the assist. Isaiah Evans with the basket. TCU rushing back. Left corner three. Quick trigger Robinson. That's no good. Malik Brown another rebound. And Duke is heading to victory here with a 20-point lead. We're inside the final 4 minutes. What a tremendous push here by Duke over the last 12 or 15 minutes of this game after TCU ripped it to start the second half to take the lead as Boozer lobs to Brown, and he flies to the rim and flushes it. Exclamation point slam from Malik Brown. And TCU going to have their season come to an end here in Greenville, but what a season they've had. Here's Punch darting his way into the lane. He goes up, has his arm grabbed, and he's fouled with just under 3 minutes left, and that'll lead to a timeout on the floor. Duke surging to a 22-point lead with under 3 minutes to go. What a run that they have put on here in the latter half of this second half. Now hold on, we've got to tackle the biggest issue at hand here is that we've got Redbox in the comments. So an old friend of ours from our old platform, he has found us here on YouTube. Great to have you with us, Redbox. Spectacular to hear from you. Hope you're doing well. And yes, glad to have you with us on YouTube. It has been, let's just say we've had peaks and valleys since we've joined YouTube. But we are trying our best to bring you the best coverage that we can here on these live streams. But yeah, this has been a fun, sometimes challenging experience, but glad to have you with us here. Great to hear from you. Hope you're doing well, my friend. And believe me when I say, when we get to the summer, we will have tennis on this channel. Particularly with, as we always like to do, we like to showcase Wimbledon a lot, so we'll have tennis on the channel throughout the summer, maybe some French Open action if schedules allow it. But yeah, we'll definitely make schedules open up for Wimbledon, the World Cup, of course, in the summer, every NASCAR Cup Series race, every NTT IndyCar Series race. You know the drill, though, Redbox. It's people just discovering us on here that might not know, but you know the drill. Great to hear from you. It really is. A reminder on this channel, we have a separate stream going on right now with Texas and Gonzaga. That game is ongoing. Again, separate stream, but on this same channel. And on this channel, both the games in Greenville tonight, both the games in Portland. That's Texas, Gonzaga, and Portland, followed by Arkansas and High Point. And here after Duke and TCU, we will have VCU and Illinois. But yes, glad that you have found us here, and glad that you are doing well. Sweet 16 spot up for grabs. And it looks as if Duke will be taking that spot in Washington, D.C. Michigan State in this region has already advanced to the Sweet 16 with their victory earlier today over Louisville. Blue Devils now shooting 55% from the field. You know, they've turned it over so many times. 16 turnovers in this game from Duke, and if it wasn't for that, TCU probably wouldn't have been in the game to begin with, as Punch at the free throw line out of the timeout knocks in the first. I mean, they've scored 20 points off of Duke turnovers, TCU. Second free throw from Punch is good. 74-54 here in the final 3 minutes. Duke on the inbound. Hemenya got doubled in the corner. He tried to throw it back for Boozer, and it's stolen. TCU able to force another turnover. Lelavicius goes up at the rim, misses the layup. Cam Boozer secures the rebound. That was a chance to get a couple of quick points off of a takeaway. Lelavicius couldn't finish. It's been a difficult day for Lelavicius. Feels like he's been in foul trouble from the jump. Last rebound, by the way, from Cam Boozer, his 10th That secures another double-double, second in a row in this tournament with a double-double, his 21st of the year. He's on the perimeter here with 6 to shoot. Swings it up top. Brown shovels it. Hemenia, late clock. Gonna have to force it up. No, he whips it into the left corner, and Caden whips up a 3. Off the heel, Sar's tap back off the front of the rim. No, Cam Boozer, another offensive rebound, and he squeezes it up and in on the third opportunity. 19 and 10 for Cam Boozer as we strike the final 2 minutes. TCU ball. Pierre, top of the arc. Elevates, feeds the left corner. 3 is up. Robinson misses, and it's all Duke for the rebound. Well, we know what it was like for Duke on Thursday here against Siena, who looked primed to shock the entire nation. But Duke stormed back in the second half against an outmanned Siena team that never made a substitution until quite literally the final 10 seconds as Caden Boozer knifes his way to the rim and lays it up and in off glass. Timeout is taken by Duke as Caden pushes the lead to 24. This has been an avalanche of scoring here from Duke down the stretch of this game as John Shire takes that timeout. And he will bring a lot of starters onto the bench now. Going to be a much more comfortable finish to this game for Duke than it was on Thursday. Great season for TCU. They'll finish with 23 wins on the season. Tremendous win over Ohio State on Thursday as David Punch checks out. Ashton Simmons and R.J. Jones, couple of players that don't often get on the floor for TCU. They get out here for the final minute and a half. And it's Simmons who will bring the ball up. Freshman from Beaumont, Texas. He'll dribble into the front court. Salachim, who provided such good minutes for this TCU team, a guy that doesn't get on the floor often, played good minutes today, sets a screen. Chase Posey gets the ball, sophomore from Houston, and he slices to the rim and lays it in as we approach the final minute with Duke leading by 22 points. This looked like it was going to be a punch for counter punch game all the way to the end, but Duke with a flurry at the finish is pulled away, and they'll end up putting it in cruise control down the stretch as Jack Scott onto the floor for Duke, drives the baseline, kicks up top, 3 is released, it's missed, and it's out of bounds off a TCU player on the near side with 43 seconds left. Duke couldn't stop turning the ball over at the start of this second half, and TCU took the lead at 40-38 as the Blue Devils inbound, and since then, Duke's been on a 40-16 run. Off the left wing, 3 is up and down. Wow, another triple. It's Sar. 43-16 run now. As at the other end, strong drive from Posey, and he lays it in off glass and draws a foul. Get a Duke team that can turn it on like that. That'll remind you of the old days with Mike Krzyzewski, where they could just, flip of a switch, go on a run like that they have here basically in the last 15 minutes, 12 minutes or so of the second half. And one free throw by Posey is missed. And Duke will bring it up the floor with the shot clock turned off. And Dame Sar will dribble out the rest of this one. What will be an 81-58 final score in a game in which Duke finished on an incredible run. 43-18 run they finished on as Duke advances to the Sweet 16. Certainly was not an easy and stress-free couple of days in Greenville for John Shire's Blue Devils, but they escape Siena and they ease away from TCU. They join Michigan State as teams to make the East Regional Semifinals. Duke will play the winner of either Kansas or St. John's next Friday night in D.C., that Kansas-St. John's game. Of course, tomorrow, Michigan State in the East Regional And they'll be joined, of course, by either UConn or UCLA, who will play tomorrow night. 81-58 is the final count here. The Blue Devils get it done. 34-2 they are now in the season. And Cam Boozer, just 2 points in the first half, 17 in the second. He comes up with another double-double, going for 19 and 11. Double-figure scoring from Malik Brown, Dame Sarr, and Isaiah Evans as well. Caden Boozer at the point. All-around game from him, 9 points, 4 boards, 5 assists. And the Blue Devils get Patrick Gungba back. 4 points in 13 minutes from him to go along with 4 rebounds and 4 assists. And, of course, he wasn't on the floor as much as he normally is because of the lingering soreness in his right foot that he's been dealing with that had kept him out of the last 5 games. But when he was on the floor, you can just so easily see how different this Duke team is when Gungba is able to play. 81-58 the final count. It turns in to a 23-point walkaway for Duke. Redbox just about done with his first year of law school. That is awesome. So awesome. And he says he can't wait to go bug Seth after this game. It's just like old times. Have fun with that. Great to have you with us, Redbox. And yeah, I did see the first comment. Yeah, we've had to put some things in on how long it takes for you to subscribe and be able to comment, because we've had issues with that with some accounts that aren't really run by real people. You might understand. Final score, Duke 81, TCU 58. Blue Devils advance to the Sweet 16. They'll await the winner of the Johnnies and the Jayhawks. That game coming up for you tomorrow. We say so long for now from Greenville, but coming up next, we'll have VCU and Illinois here from Greenville. That's in about 30 minutes' time. But stay tuned on this channel, because on a separate stream, we've got Gonzaga and Texas going on as we speak.